Hey everybody, Sarah Eggleston with John L. Scott, and I am back with your weekly real estate update during the Washington stay-at-home order. Welcome you back. If you have joined me the past couple of weeks, thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. I hope you find this information valuable. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. One moment. Okay. So, this week in housing for South King County. So in the news this week, King County has issued a directive for residents to start wearing face cloths out in public in certain settings, a wide variety of settings. This has been recommended for a while, but King County will be suggesting it more strongly, I guess. They said they won't issue any arrests or anything for people that aren't, but it's really important, and they're trying to find a way to convince people to wear their masks out in public. Also in this week, which I thought was kind of interesting and a little bit motivating about the future, Redfin and Zillow will start flipping houses again. So these companies were just starting to purchase houses, fix them up a little bit, and then resell them. And these are, publicly traded companies. So they have a lot of people behind them. They have a lot of people's interests in mind as far as their shareholders. But they stopped buying houses when the coronavirus hit, but they've started to buy houses again. They've analyzed the situation, and this to me is a huge sign that property values are generally thought that they will increase over the next few months or over the next, year or so. These Zillow, Redfin, they wouldn't be buying these houses to flip them if they anticipated them going down in value. As far as what is actually happening around the King County right now, for the past week, there were 610 residential listings, 175 condos. You can see that on the residential, the pending 831 does exceed the new listings, but we're pretty much dead even on the condos. So there's more listings coming to the market than there were, which is a great sign because there was a huge shortage of inventory. And we'll touch on that in a little bit, but here's the numbers combined. So you can see there's still more pendings than new listings, but not all pendings close. So yeah, you can just see that there's a little bit more activity than there has been the past couple of weeks. Evidence is mounting that home buyers may be coming back to the market after demand plummeted in the past month due to the coronavirus. That's from CNBC. And this evidence is this is one example of that evidence from Showing Time. These are national numbers, or for North America. So you can see around the beginning of March, showings just plummeted, and we couldn't do showings for a little bit there, for like 2.5 days. We couldn't do showings. And then they loosened those restrictions, and we could do them again with limited interaction. And you can see right now, we're starting to finally hit our spring market. We're back above on showings, scheduled showings. We're back above where we were in mid-January. So this is a great trend to see. As far as King County showings, this is King County by month for Showing Time. And you can see it was pretty low for January, February, March, but April is shooting up on showings. So showings is like a precursor to pendings, because people go look at homes before they go pending. So if you watch the showing trends, you'll see the pending trends follow shortly after. As far as sellers, this is from the senior principal economist at Zillow. Many sellers with the flexibility to delay or temporarily remove listings have opted to do so, perhaps waiting out the uncertainty. Now that more buyers are in the market, those sellers are wading back in, joining those who had remained motivated to sell for any number of life reasons. So we are seeing nationally listings come on the market as well. So it's happening in our area and it's happening nationally too, which is great to see because, as I said before, there was not much to choose from on if you're shopping for a home. So this I did find interesting. The light green is for sale, and from the weekly stats, I was a little bit surprised as far as how this graph looked. I thought the light green bar would be a little bit lower, but I guess a lot of those pendings didn't go through for one reason or another, and they're kind of, you can see the trend. This is up and through the end of April, so it's dragged a little bit. This is data from a couple weeks ago. And we have to wait till next month to get our data for May. But you can see that there are listings growing. And while there was a decrease in the amount of homes sold last month, I do feel like if I had to venture a guess, based on the numbers I've been seeing this month, the next dark green bar will go back up and we'll have more solds next month than we did, or in May, than we did in April. And just talking a little bit about unemployment, these are weekly unemployment filings. So if you file for unemployment, you have to reissue your filing each week. So you have to file unemployment for each week as the weeks go on. So you see March 21st, there was 3.3 million people filing for unemployment. Again, these are national numbers. By March 28th, we had 6.9 million people filing for unemployment for that week. But each week since then, fewer people have been filing each week, which shows that a lot of people have gone back to work, or if they got laid off, they've picked up a job somewhere else, whether it's temporary or permanent. There are job opportunities out there, so people have been taking up some of those and not filing their weekly unemployment claim. As far as the breakdown of industries, you can see that servers and bartenders are by far the majority of those that are falling into the unemployment category right now. And as restaurants are finding different ways of providing services, I've seen restaurants selling masks and hand sanitizers and doing cocktails for both pickup and delivery, and they're finding ways to increase revenue. And hopefully, when the restrictions are loosened on restaurants, we'll see this drop a lot and see a lot of people go back to work. I know a lot of people are getting a little antsy at home, so it'd be nice to see some people back at work. And retail, temporary services, doctors' offices, like all of these, I feel like we'll see come back pretty quickly. Servers and bartenders and retail might take a little bit longer to bounce back, but it will bounce back. As far as when it bounces back, this is a graph showing a lot of people have been comparing this time to the Great Depression. And yes, as far as the depth of unemployment, you can see that the depth is pretty comparable. But as far as the trajectory, the line of recovery, it took 12 years to get back to where they were before the Great Depression. The worst case scenario that I've seen was Goldman Sachs, and they're kind of like year 4 will kind of be back, 4 or 5. Pretty much everybody else is looking at us being back quicker than that. But, you know, worst case scenario, if this is probably as bad as it'll get. Whereas the Great Recession, the 2008 housing market crash, that took 9 years to come back from. The Great Depression took 12 years, and they're saying 4 to come back to right where we were. So it's definitely not the long haul that we saw a few years ago. And as far as what's happening in the second half of this year, everybody is projecting a loss in quarter 2. We're in quarter 2 right now, and all financial industry or financial players on this graph, they are predicting a really bad quarter 2. However, Bank of America, out of these 5, Bank of America is the only one that's has a bad projection for quarter 3, and they all go in an upward trend for quarter 4. So this is pretty optimistic thinking. I think a lot of people have skepticism that we'll come back quite this quickly, but these are what the major players are saying. So I think it's hopeful. And again, I just wanted to say, I mentioned this last week, but I have a page on my website for with a pamphlet on protecting your investment. So if you're a homeowner or you know homeowners that are at risk of not being able to pay their mortgage, a lot of people have been talking about forbearance, but there are a lot of reasons why you might want to reconsider that before just jumping into it. So I highly recommend that if you or someone you know is needing information about mortgage help, homeowner help, go to my website. The pamphlet there has a lot of really great information. And as always, you can feel free to reach out to me if you have questions or concerns or just want to chat real estate. I am happy to do so. So I really thank you so much for joining, and I will see you again next week.